Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from Clown Shoes. Clown Shoes is done out of Ipswich, Massachusetts, and they have clown shoes on all their beers. And they used to be called Mercury Brewing, and now that's gone away, and they go by Clown Shoes. This is an 11.5%. Still got Mercury Brewing Company written on the side of the label above the ABV. It says, we've been making beer for 5 years. There have been a few challenges, yet here we are. This bourbon barrel aged Belgian style quadruple concentrates our anniversary even as we look to the future and know that we cannot rest. Please join us. This is written in very small letters, guys. Join us as we work for and search for the kind of peace in life that money can't buy. And that's what this is called. The Peace That Money Can't Buy, Belgian Style Quadruple Ale, aged in bourbon barrels. This was sent to me by Rico. Rico sent me a big box of beer mail. You guys follow me, you know it was a monster box, and it had a ton of beers in it. I mean, it was a massive package. So let's see what this brings from the reviews I've seen and read about this beer. Either you love it or you don't love it. I heard some people say that they didn't like it, it was infected, or this, that, and the other. This one says bottled on 12/18 of 2014. So this is almost a year and a half in the bottle. So we'll see what this brings. I don't know how often they do it. It says here, no it doesn't. I figured it said rotating schedule. It does not. So this may be a brewed once beer, I'm not exactly sure. So I do enjoy a lot of the Clown Shoes beers. I have had a couple that I wasn't enthused about, but these guys seemed like a top-notch brewery. I did have some that I had got, and it was a bad batch on a couple of bottles in transportation or something, and they contacted me and sent me some beers to make up for it. So top-notch guys as far as I'm concerned. So I'm hoping this is not going to be an infected beer. I hate to see a bourbon barrel aged. This time it's been wasted in a barrel setting, and then to be put in a bottle and then to be infected on top of that. So hopefully this is not. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Rico, thanks again, my brother, for sending me this. I read you the commercial description. Same thing written here that's written on the bottle. 11.5%. Don't have the IBUs on this one. For the quadruple style beer, it says the food pairings: cheeses and buttery Green Gouda Havarti Swiss, sharp blue cheddar, and the meat is beef, smoked meat, and game. And the glassware snifter tulip oversized wine glass. I got my snifter glass, the solid beer glass, and can be cellar for long periods of time. Well, this has been a year and a half in the bottle, plus the time it's been in the barrels. If they had it in the barrels for 6 months, it's 2 years old. So let's see what this brings to the table. Let's get the cap off of this bad boy. Quadruple, 11.5%. Big beer. Nice little hiss on that. 22 ounce or two, so enough to share here. Let's see if we can generate a little bit of head on this thing for a big monster beer. I'm not going to produce a lot. About a finger of head on that pour over to the light. It is a rich reddish brown color, guys. A lot of bubbles streaming up from the thin part of the glass that I can see. I can't see a lot of light through here, but I am getting some through the thin part of the glass on the bottom area. So let's get a nose on this. Getting some caramel, molasses, and some dark fruitiness. I'm not getting a lot of bourbon on this, guys. I'll be right up with you. It's not got a lot of bourbon on the nose. More of a sweet barley wine-esque smell to me. Not getting a lot of the Belgian yeast in the aroma either. Well, it's that time. Let's get it on. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Rico. Thank you, sir. Does have a slight tartness to it, which I'm not expecting from a Belgian quadruple. Maybe some hints of some dark fruit and stuff, but the bourbon is really not there. Not as much as, not to have it written on the label, bourbon barrel aged. In my opinion, and that's just my 2 cents, either it wasn't a first run, it wasn't a barrel that was used for the first time for beer, or they didn't leave it in there very long. And it's got a tartness to it, a sour slash tartness to it, that I don't think it should be there. And like I said, I have read some things saying other people have got that tart sour to it, and thinking that it may be infected. So it's not to the point where it's infected enough to pour it out. I'm not going to do that, but it does have some sour tartness to it that's not typical of a Belgian style quadruple that's been aged in bourbon barrels. And the bourbon I am not getting, guys. Yeah, just not getting the bourbon there. So very interesting. They may have something going on with this batch of beer. Not expecting or used to having a Belgian quadruple aged in bourbon barrels that has that sour tartness to it, unless they've introduced some Brettanomyces or something else, some lactobacillus or some other souring yeast agent in the beer. So, but it's right out of the fridge. Let it come up to room temperature. We'll pour her a glass to see what she thinks of it, and we'll sip on it for just a little bit, and we'll find out where it comes in on my scale. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. Been sitting on it about 35-40 minutes or so. Now that it's come up to room temperature, I am getting some slight hints of the bourbon barrel aging in it, but it was non-existent when it was right out of the fridge. I was expecting a little more bourbon-esque taste in this beer than what I'm getting. Plus the sour tartness in there, I don't think that should be there. I don't know if they brewed something with Brettanomyces or something in it, and not got all that out of it in the lines or whatever, but it has a sour tartness to it that I am not familiar with on this style of beer. So it is a tasty beer. It's not an outstanding beer, to be honest with you. I don't think it's up to the A category beer. I hope Rico didn't spend a lot of money on this beer. He probably did though, since it's a 22-ounce bourbon aged version of this beer. But it's got some molasses sweetness to it, maybe some candied sugar. I am getting a little bit of dark fruit, but I'm getting like a sour cherry or a tart cherryness to it too. definitely tartar and a little on the sour side, more than I think it should be. Just my opinion. You might say, "Oh man, that's a 10 beer. You're crazy." I'm not gonna argue with that. Uh, to me, for the style of beer, what it is, which is a Belgian quadruple aged in bourbon barrels, I was expecting a hint of more bourbon than I'm getting, even after it's warmed up. I am getting slight notes, which leads me to think that maybe they didn't use first run barrels. Maybe it had beer in those barrels once before. Maybe it even had Brettanomyces beer in that barrel. Maybe that's where the tart sourness is coming from. I'm not sure. But it does have that tart cherry sourness to it that I'm not familiar with this style of beer. So let's do the final chug on this one. It does have a nice barley wine-esque sweetness to it, and the alcohol is fairly well hidden. I'm going to get a little bit of it, but not much. Not for 11.5%. Final chug. Now, if it had, or in the description, said something about some tart cherries or something that had been used in the brewing process, I could see where that flavor would be coming from, but I see no evidence of that. With what I've got here, decent beer, not outstanding, above average beer. To me, guys, it's not an A category beer. As much as I hate to say that, as much as I love those guys up there at Clown Shoes and everything they do, this is not an A beer to me. This is a B beer, and it's not an upper B beer either. To be honest about it, in my opinion, this is just my 2 cents. I'm gonna give this a 6, which is a B. If I was putting a numeric rating on this guy, it would probably be 85. Right in the mid-range of the B beers. So, was not expecting that sour tartness to this beer, and was expecting a little more bourbon-esque being in the barrels than I was getting on this one. So, that's where I'm going to leave it. 85 for me, B. Beer Advocate doesn't have this beer even listed, and I do this all the time. I'll type in Clown Shoes, and if it doesn't have it listed, I'll go to the brewery site on one of their beers and see if it has it listed in there. It's not listed. You shouldn't have to jump through hoops to find the beer. When you type in Clown Shoes, it should have the piece that money can't buy listed there. And when you go to all the beers that Clown Shoes does, it should have it listed there. And Beer Advocate does not have it listed at all. It may be there somewhere. It may be hidden somewhere, and I'm sure somebody will say, "Oh, here it is. It's on Beer Advocate." Shouldn't have to jump through freaking hoops to find the beer. So that's where I'm going to leave it. If I can't put it where it should be, either on all the Clown Shoes beers, or if you go to the Clown Shoes beers on that site and it doesn't have it listed there, you're out of the game. So Beer Advocate, you're out of the game. You don't even have it listed. So sucking hind titty there, big boys. And over to Rate Beer does have it listed. So they have it at overall 86 and 44 in the style. So not impressive numbers from them. 86, I gave it 85. So we're pretty close on Rate Beer sites for as far as what we're tasting, what we're smelling, and what we got on this beer. So I don't think it's a drain pour for sure. But the tart sourness that I'm getting on this beer, and the lack of the bourbon for a barrel-aged beer keeps me from giving it a better grade. So that's where I'm at. So that's where I'm going to put it. 85 for me, a 6. So if you've had this one from Clown Shoes, the piece that money can't buy, maybe that we can't buy any damn bourbon barrel taste either. And the sour tartness, guys, is what throws me off on this beer. And using a Belgian yeast, it's not prominent. It's more subdued than it should be too. So that's my 2 cents. If you've had this one from Clown Shoes, a piece that money can't buy, they're quadruple. Let me know what you think. I wasn't blown away. I'm disappointed because they really do some really tasty stuff. So let me know what you think, guys, and let's go see what's in the fridge tomorrow. See you then.